Good evening, sir. Shall we start, sir?
Yes, ma'am. I think we can start.
Okay, sir.
No, you understand. I just saw your typing.
Yeah. So is my screen visible too?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible, sir. Good evening to all the participants as well as the resource person. And on behalf of Karpagam Academy of Higher Education and organizing team, I would like to welcome our resource person, Mr. Karthik Sundar, Senior Robotics Engineer, MulticoreWare INC, Coimbatore, for the AICTE ATAL Online Faculty Development Program on the topic harnessing artificial intelligence for the future generation of wireless communication and signal processing. He has vast experience. He worked as a graduate engineer from Sri Padma Balaji Industries for 1 year, 5 months from April 2010 to August 2011. He worked as an assistant professor in Kumaraguru College of Technology for over 9 years, 6 months from June 2013 to November 2022. During his journey, he acted as an university ambassador from January 2018 to November 2022 for a period of 4 years, 11 months. He was a machine learning researcher for 3 years, 6 months, and he acted as a visiting faculty uh, from December 2021 to April 2023 for the period of 1 year, 5 months. He acted as a senior research fellow from February 2022 to November 2022 over a period of 10 months. He was a technical lead December 22 to June 2025 for a period of 2 years, 7 months, and he worked as now presently he was in MulticoreWare INC as a senior robotics engineer. His certifications include self-driving car, nano degree term, deep reinforcement learning, nano degree ham, project management professional, CBSE net. He once again, I welcome you, sir. Thank you for accepting our invitation, and welcome you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Gayatri, for extending your invitation to me. Yeah, I'll take it from here.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So as Dr. Gayatri introduced about me, myself, Karthik Sundar, I work in MulticoreWare India as a senior technical lead right now for the sensors engineering technical unit and also for the embedded systems technical unit. So before I go into my profile, which was already explained it in brief by Dr. Gayatri, let me start with the today's session. It's going to be about my experience with uh, the sensor engineering team, wherein we developed use cases for our customers. So predominantly we have customers from automotive, smart cities, and smart industries. And for the vital sign detection, especially with the deep learning methods and as well as for the mathematical method, we had worked with customers from the automotive industry and also from the healthcare industries. So this is these are the topics which I'm planning to cover today, and predominantly out of multiple sensors which we have used, I'm planning to focus on two sensors. One is the camera, and the second one is the radar. And uh, my experience with both these sensors and the processing pipeline will be uh, discussed in this particular session. So if you have any questions, please feel to drop them in the chat, or we can have a Q&A session at the end of the meeting. So, I just had a slide about my credentials here as of why and how I'm qualified to be presenting this session. As Dr. Gayatri said, I'm also from the academic I have worked with the Coimbatore College of Technology for the past 9 years, and then while working there, I got an opportunity to work with a couple of government funded projects along with CDA Kolkata and IIT Kharagpur, which was in robotics. And that is how I got the opportunity to work with CDA Kolkata as a visiting faculty for a couple of years until that programs were closed. And I do have a certified project management certification from the PMI Institute. And all these certifications and my exposure with robotics and sensors, it allowed me to get an opportunity with MulticoreWare, where I started my career as, again, I restarted my career as a technical lead for the sensors engineering, wherein I started working with the LiDAR for automotive, especially for perception software, wherein it is used for surveillance applications in most of the Arabian countries right now. My particular product is deployed over there, and then I also work with certain projects related to SLAM, which is done with AMR, automotive moving vehicles, and robotics. And then I also got the opportunity to work with certain healthcare industries and companies where it varies starting from a smartwatch to detect the heart rate and the breathing rate. And they have applied for an FDA approval and is still in the testing process. And also with few hospitals here in India where we are uh, collaborating with them for non-contact vital sign detections. So these are the projects and products which I have worked for, and my core expertise also deals with vision and radar-based non-contact vital sign monitoring, both in the mathematical space, also with the deep learning space. So this is a very short introduction about me. And so these are certain use cases which we have jointly developed with most of the semiconductor industry and also with the silicon industries. So we work in two verticals. One is to promote the sensor manufacturers, bringing them the use cases which they can, showcase and sell their sensors. And the second one is with the silicon manufacturers, wherein we try to put in the sensor processing pipeline into a low power or a low form factor silicon so that it can be used within an automotive or within a small edge device. So my presentation starts with this particular use case wherein we are using a radar mounted on top of the automotive. This is for the in-cabin use case. So for before we go with this, there are certain organizations around the world who mandate or who have a roadmap such that all the vehicles that are going to be sold from this year or like 2030 should have all these sensors and features as a mandate in them. And one such uh, commission is the EuroNAC, which is presented in the upcoming slides, which has a roadmap for driver detection, passenger detection, their vital sign detections, uh, you know, which is a mandate feature so that in case if there is, there's a situation of an emergency, how to respond to them, whether the response can be delayed or the response has to be very immediate. So these organizations, we are working with these organizations who are writing the rules or the people or the organization who are giving star rating for the vehicles so that you don't have to read the entire brochure of the vehicle, but rather than based on the star rating provided by these commissions or the organizations, you can say like this particular vehicle has the best safety features. So we are working with these organizations along with the OEM to make their automotive vehicle get certified so that consumers can buy their product at ease without much parameters to compare with. So traditionally, we work with all sensors, both the contact and the non-contact sensors. But the problem that we have with the contact sensors or you know, when we try to sell their product to the hospitals or other use cases, the contact sensors is like it's the time that takes to mount the sensor and also to get an accurate reading, and it is one person at a time, right? So these were the limitations that we were trying to address, and it needs to have a contact with them for a certain period of time. So all the healthcare partners who we have collaborated with, they wanted to have a non-contact sensor along with the continuous monitoring. So this is also one of the surveys that we did with our partners in the healthcare industry. Like even for elderly people, they don't want to have any kind of sensor strapped onto them for a longer period of time, especially when trying to get a very good sleep. So we had one such product which we mounted on the ceiling for the old ages and also for the hospitals with the elderly people, which was able to continuously monitor their heartbeat, the heart rate, as well as their breathing rate, which uh, with acceptable accuracy. I won't say like we are as precise as the medical equipments which are mounted to them as of now, but we had acceptable accuracy, providing the comfort along with a long duration of monitoring the elderly people. So in this particular use case that you see over here, what we have is a vehicle that is, sorry, the radar that is mounted on the in-cabin of an automotive, wherein it does two operations. One is like it is able to detect whether a person or a particular seat, that is a predefined space, is occupied or not, and whether it is occupied by a person or by a non-living thing or object, and whether the person is an adult or a young child, or we categorize it into two categories, right? One is the adult, the child, and the pets. So our technology or our product is not focused only on the adults. We don't classify them into genders. We classify them into the age groups as uh, the you know the adult, the child, and the pets. So based on these, we will try to find whether they have a consistent heart rate as well as the breathing rate. And two things here again. The kind of solution that we provide is both for the mathematical and as well as the machine learning and the deep learning models, mostly the deep learning models because of the data that we have. And the reason why we go with the deep learning models is predominantly it is more preferred by the customer. So at the early stage, before we start the development of our product, we try to validate the data based on the mathematical models that we have with us. So we have a lot of algorithms implemented here in MulticoreWare, which is used to find or estimate the heart rate, the breathing pattern, and other vital signs. So we try to do an EDA based on the datasets provided by the customer with their sensor, with the environment that they have created. Especially in this case, this is for an vehicle, sorry, an OEM, where they have collaborated with the radar company, and they have placed their sensor on the in-cabin at the top of the dash. I mean, not on the dashboard, but pretty far away. We also had use cases wherein the sensors were placed at the back seat and also the dashboard. So the same sensor has been placed in multiple different locations, and the data was collected, and the collected data, we will try to validate them to check which particular position provides us the best result, whether we are able to measure the distance properly, the displacement, as well as the biometric signals. So yeah, so this is what we do day in and day out when it comes to the healthcare, especially for the automotive. And I think you guys would have seen a lot of lectures, so I want to provide some demos over here, but again, most of the demos that we have is based on the customer's NDA. So I thought like maybe I could look for an open source algorithm which uses either a radar based or a camera based system which we can uh, you know have a live info of. So this is one particular implementation from the Washington University where they have implemented a visual camera based heart rate detection. But as of now, this particular UI, if you guys can type it into a URL, you should be able to, and if you guys can open your webcam, maybe now or later, you can make a make note of this particular URL and then try it out later. So what will be seen is, as soon as you open up your webcam, this particular model that is running on your web page is going to take the frames of your is going to take photos of your face, and then it is going to mark some it's going to extract some key points out of it, and based on the difference in the pixels, it is going to estimate the heart rate. So if you guys want to try this out, maybe I can give a couple of minutes for this, and then you guys can send me a chat whether this particular link is still functional or not. So while you guys are trying to use this particular link, maybe I can also put in some more details into what is the work behind this. So this is based on RPPG, which is the remote photography, wherein we try to, as I mentioned earlier, what we try to do or what the system tries to do is like it does extract the key features based on it's again a deep learning model. So the model is trained to extract the key features of a couple of points in your face, and then it tries to estimate change in color that is due to the that is based on the blood volume variation. It may not be much visible to the naked eye, but this is somewhat able to, this particular model is able to detect the minute changes in the face. And one of the problem which we faced when we were trying to replicate the same, this is open source algorithm, but even before that, we were trying, before we were aware of this, we were trying to do a similar technology. And what we faced in terms of both, the issue that we faced in terms of both the camera and the radar was, especially in terms of radar, was the motion artifact. Irrespective of how much I try to have a steady face, I somehow managed to make a minor motion in my head, and it always caused an artifact. It always caused some variation in the heart rate detection. So that's the first challenge which we were trying to solve in terms of radar and as well as the camera, the visual based system. And the second issue that we had with the RPPG was like two things. One is the lightning variation, and second one is whenever there is a patient who wears a makeup. Makeup doesn't, we are not discriminating only the a particular gender over here. Even when we had a male candidate and they have a some kind of bomb on their on their forehead for an headache, that also resulted in a huge variation between the actual benchmark reading that we had, the ground truth reading that we had with the proper medical device against the estimated results that we had from the camera based heart rate detection. So that's one. And the other important method, issue that we had when we were trying to develop our own solution was the data set creation. As long as we had, uh, thanks to researchers from Washington University, they have also provided us with a pre-trained model, so we were able to run the demo. But again, as I said, we were not aware of this particular open source, and we were running our own algorithm. I mean, we were developing our own product at that particular time. Collecting the data was a bigger issue because our customers were ready to share their data, which they have recorded across the world, but because of the organization's policy and also their particular geographical locations policy, they were not allowed to share their data. They had this privacy issues when they had to share, the photographs of the people along with the ground truth value. So this is one major issue which we have, which we still face right now. And the other, I won't say it's an issue, but a challenge which we actually expertise in is the porting of the models and the solution into a silicon. So MulticoreWare is, as the name suggests, it is multiple architectures. So we specialize in optimizing the models and porting the modules across all the silicons across different architectures. So when it comes to healthcare, especially for a smartwatch, the model has to be ported into a low power device because we want to have a continuous monitoring as well as for a larger duration on a limited power. So we specialize in that, and we were able to reduce the size of the model without compromising on the accuracy. And when we say this is not only the deep learning model, but also the mathematical model without much of an hardware accelerators for us. So that's one. And I hope while I was presenting this slide, at least a couple of you guys, got a chance to look at the solution from this university. Again, just to be, I was, I did not open up my webcam because if you guys can open up your webcam with this particular website, you should be able to. I don't think you will be able to see the heart rate, but you guys will be able to see the wave pattern as of now with the existing version that they have over here. And this particular work, it had around it was benchmarked with a couple of open source benchmarked algorithms, and it had an accuracy somewhere between 90 to 96% when we tested with our medical devices and the volunteers. You guys should be able to open the site. If not, maybe let me check that again, and I will share it with Dr. Gayatri so that before the end of this particular FTP, she will be able to reshare with this. Yeah, maybe at the end of the session, maybe I can open this website and I can show it because I'll make it a point over there. Okay, so yes, no, I'll make it a point just to check, double check the website again. Thank you for the message. So as I mentioned earlier, one of our partners, that is the Euro NCAP, which has a vision for 2030, wherein all the vehicles that is going to be launched in the Europe will have these features as a mandate one, and also Euro NCAP, just in the introduction about them, Euro NCAP is the European New Car Assessment Program from Europe. It is a voluntary program that tests and rates the safety of new vehicles, especially cars, providing the consumers with the star rating so that it will be easier for the consumers to compare different vehicles in terms of safety based on the rigorous crash test and the safety technology assessments. So they have placed a very strong emphasis on the in-cabin monitoring and in-cab monitoring, especially for the safety. It is no longer enough for when we had a discussion with them, uh, the information that was conveyed is especially since I mentioned that I was working on the SLAM algorithms, right? So sensors are placed outside of the vehicle to sense the environment. So when we go for cruise control, especially, we need to sense the environment on the front, on our side, to decide whether the vehicle can maintain the speed or whether the vehicle should inform the person driving the vehicle that they need to take control, right? Whether there is an obstacle coming in front of it, whether it's going to stop the auto cruise, and the person is going to take care of the steering system and things like that. It is not enough for the vehicle to have a sense of the environment alone. It is also important for the vehicle to have the sense of its internal, the person who's going to drive the vehicle, the passenger who are accompanying the driver, right? So it is also necessary for it to measure or estimate the condition of those persons. So this is the philosophy of uh, emphasizing that every vehicle should have an in-cabin monitoring system, and it has been placed in their roadmap essentially to expand the safety from protecting the occupants during crash to continuously evaluating the condition of the drivers and passengers during the event as well as after the event. So here again, there are two more use cases. One is like if at all there is an accident that occurs, whether it is due to human negligence or the negligence of the driver, whether he was driving the vehicle for a longer time without any sleep or rest, whether he was drowsy, or whether he was distracted by some other scenery and not or the vehicle in front of him. So that's one. And this is especially supported or funded by the insurance company because you know, of course, they are going to provide you with the claims, but again, the reason will be legit, right? No driver can say like it was not my fault, but the car did not respond. I was clearly paying attention to the road, but somehow this occurred. If they are negligent, the system inside them will detect, and then it will let the insurance company make a decision of what was the reason for the mishap, and then the evaluation or the condition of the passenger after the mishap. Say if there is an accident that has occurred, how serious it is. Say if there is going to be a single ambulance and there are two mishaps that has occurred simultaneously in two different regions, and this particular ambulance has to cover either one of them. So based on the assessment of the sensor of how critical it is, the first responders can take a decision of whether any one of the treatment to any one of them can be delayed or like take it, wait for a longer period of time, and then reassign the first responder to them. So there are multiple use cases which were discussed as a part of in-cabin monitoring for the automotive, right? So the first one, as I said, it's the driver monitoring system. This is the first major pillar in the in-cabin monitoring, and we already have a lot of solutions available for this, starting from uh, the current systems. They already track, they have the basic trackers like check the position of the head, whether the driver is facing the road ahead of him or like whether he has turned his head to the side, so I was looking at his mobile phone, looking down. All those are monitored via the head tracking system, and then there is the gaze direction. Not only the head, but also his eyeballs are constantly monitored, whether he's looking at the road or maybe his mobile phone, how much time he has blinked, or whether the eye was open or it's in the closure position, and the steering behavior also to detect whether there was a distraction or drowsiness from the drive, right? But Euro NCAP's requirements are more ambitious. They do not only want to cover the features that are already existing just based on the visual based system, but they also want to be a lot more ambitious, like they want to detect whether it is a fatigue or it is a distraction or a visual impairment, or even if it's a visual impairment, whether it is because of the medical reasons or it was because of a influence of alcohol or drug, or uh, whether it's again, as I said, because of any medical conditions, whether it can be a fainting because of uh, not taking in any food, or it can be a cardiac event, right, or a stress. So they want to classify the reason for the impairment. It's not only the alcohol and drugs, but even if it's not an intended one, what could be the reason? So that the vehicle, what we call it as uh, uh, it's MRM. It's called the MRM system, which will seize the uh, cruise control, and based on the regional rule or the safety system that is initiated by the manufacturer, it will either have a sudden brake, or it is going to drop the acceleration, move to a safe distance based on the external sensing, stop the vehicle. It is not going to restart until the proper resets are made, and it's going to send a signal to the first responders, right? So that particular MRM is completely based on the driver system monitoring. So that's the first pillar for in-cabin monitoring. And the second one is the occupant and the seat monitoring. Uh, Again, the vehicle must know exactly who is sitting where and in what posture they are, what is their size, their position, whether it is an adult or whether it's going to be a child. And when I say whether we are able to estimate or detect whether it's an adult or whether it's a child, the first question that we get is whether using visual based systems, right? The camera, and that comes then comes in the privacy issues. We are not only capable of detecting these classes only based on visual feeds, but we were also able to classify whether the person sitting or occupying a particular seat is an adult or a child or a pet. And if it's an adult or a child, we are able to uh, provide a fairly accurate estimation of their heart rate and the beating rate, right? And this, you know, the parameters of their posture and positions. Again, why we are monitoring them is because, like, whether all the passengers had their seat belt on when an event occurred, right? So we need to continuously monitor their pose, that is the position and orientation, along with their vital signs, and then record them in a vehicle when the vehicle is in transition, or whether the vehicle is in rest but it is switched on, so that we will know the conditions of the occupants of the vehicle before the event, during the event, and after the event, so that we can take appropriate decisions over there. And this information enables an adaptive restraint system, especially for the airbags and the seat belts, so that they can be deployed scientifically based on the occupant's characteristics. And it's not like one size fits for all. If there is, you have a child who is on a carriage, so that you don't fit in the seat belt in a proper way, but in a different way, the system will adjust itself so that it's not going to say you have an occupant on the back side, but you are not worn your seat belt. You will have a different kind of uh, restraint on them, and system will accommodate according to that. And it also feeds this data, so that, as I mentioned earlier, to the first responders, so they can respond in a much better way. And The other use case which we have seen in the last few years, which is just a lot of demand, is also for the child presence detection systems. And this came as a very important point because a couple of maybe this year also, we see a lot of parents in India and abroad leaving their child in the car for a long time. I mean, I won't say a long time, but for a period of duration wherein they assume that the child is sleeping or it is taken care of and they will be back pretty soon. And they are left within the car, even the child as well as the pet. But the use case right now is addressing only the child, and they are left there for a longer time. So if that is the case, I think there's also a movie on this. Uh, for autonomous car wherein the child is locked inside and the mom is not able to open the door. So for these use cases, what we do is, or what we provide as a solution is to detect, as I mentioned earlier, detect the occupants of a vehicle, detect whether they are a child, and if they are a child, continuously monitor their vital signs, and then send the message to the first responders, not only to the parents or the owner of the vehicle, but also to the first responders before it hits the critical threshold, right? So the Euro NCAP has made a child presence detection as a formal scoring system since 2023, but from 2025 orders, only the direct sensing, meaning that the system can detect a living being, will be rewarded. So if any OEM vehicle, they don't have the child protection, they don't have the child presence detection system, it's going to have a less number of stars. And at one point of time, people are going to look at the NCAP stars and they are going to stop buying this particular vehicle because it doesn't, or it doesn't, it has not incorporated the child presence detection so far. So this is again where we have a strong hold on the market, where we have a clear technology for the vital signs detection and sensing, especially with the radar-based breathing system, which has proven to be powerful when compared to the visual signs detection system. So the previous URL which I shared from the Washington EDU University, it was based on the visual uh, features, right? So you open your camera and then uh, you let the system take some frames of photographs. I think it takes nearly around 30 to 60 frames of data of your face, and then based on your key points or the color of the key points, it is able to estimate the heart rate as well as the breathing rate. But the problem with the visual or the camera based system is the line of sight. So only if the camera is placed in front of the driver or the occupant, it will be able to determine the vital signs. However, it won't be able to, if the line of sight is not available, it won't be able to detect their, uh, you know, key points, and it is just an occluded area, right? Especially in the vehicles, we have 4+ seats, right? 4 to 6 seats or 8 seats. So if a camera is placed on the dashboard, it will be able to capture the faces or the images of only the passenger and the driver who are in the front seats, and not anyone who's sitting in the back seats, right? So that is where we go. That is also the reason why we go for radar-based solution, because the radio frequency waves are able to penetrate the drivers, and it is also able to reach the passengers in the back seat. And even though the signals are not strong enough, but we have been successful in estimating their heart rate. So that's one. That's again, I just want to give you guys a fair comparison of camera and radar that is mentioned here in the slide. And then we have the post crash use case in case of the in-cabin data. As I mentioned earlier, it's not only for the real-time journey that we use the data, but also to support the passengers in case of a mishap. So in case if there is going to be a e-call or a distress call, okay, an advanced one, like I think I had this particular technology when I was driving my ultraviolet bike, wherein I skidded my bike and I dropped it on the mud. And a few minutes away after that, I got a call from the ultraviolet customer care to check whether I was safe. And then I had to reconfirm them it's a mistake on my side. I just skidded the vehicle and we both are safe. So the sensors that is already in place in these vehicles, they send the diagnostic informations to the OEM saying that the passengers are our passengers could be in a mishap, and just confirm with them. So this electronic call or the distress call will be an important feature, especially say like you got in a position where you are not able to pick up your phone and then make an emergency call. Based on the signals from your sensors, the vehicle automatically connects to your emergency number, and then it lets you speak with them, or it shares the videos of your it all depends of it. It is not like it is a mandated setting, a mandated configuration, but it can be customized in a way. So these are some of, I mean, this is not the only features here of the Euro NCAP, uh, but I have listed some of the important features that are placed in the Euro NCAP's roadmap so that it can provide a star rating to these to the new cars, so that it can enable the customers to make a wise decision, especially in terms of safety. Yes. So this again is related to the radar-based systems. So the trend right now is what is being adopted by the vehicle manufacturers or the sensor manufacturers who are providing a product to the OEMs of the vehicle manufacturers. So I have listed around three trends over here. One is like first is the adaptation of radar, as I mentioned in my previous slide. Like there are limitations of the vision-based system, not only in terms of the lightning, wearing the mask and the makeup over there, but also it is pretty costly because you have to place multiple cameras and inside the vehicle to cover all the occupants or the passengers. And it is also a privacy concern. Most of the passengers or the people who are buying the car are much more comfortable with a non-visual sensor, and that is how radar is currently capturing a larger part of the market when it comes to in-cabin sensing. Not only radar, but there is also one more sensor with which we predominantly work, that is known as the time of flight camera, uh, which uh, which provides you with the point cloud data instead of the raw colored image or a monocular image, which is again considered as a little bit of uh, you know uh, a privacy approved, or people who are conscious of privacy, they are okay with having a TOF camera in a time of flight sensor. I want to see camera, time of flight sensor, rather than the actual RGB or the stereo camera. So that's one. And again, the important feature, as I mentioned earlier, again, with the single sensor, not only am I able to estimate the presence of the child, but I'm also able to measure or estimate their heart rate, breathing rate, take their, these are again derivatives of the first two signals, and just also measure how good they are. And this enables them to as soon as passengers in the vehicle, it's not only the a load sensor below the seat, but also the smart sensors like radar will also remind them to uh, you know uh, put in their seat belts, or if not, there's not going to be a airbag deployment. And whether the multiple scenarios over there which we are trying, but the major trend being the adaptation of radar for especially for the child protection system and beyond. And again, this is not only what we are seeing with the automotive, but also with other sectors also. Right, we are moving from 60 gigahertz radar to 77 gigahertz radar. I mean, still the 60 gigahertz radar are in place and in market, but uh, you know, based on the requirement, especially from the smart cities, not only with the automotive, but also with smart cities, we are able to measure the heart rate, the vital sign detection with the 60 gigahertz radar. But the point is, we are able to detect it for a single person, not for multiple persons at the same frame. So if there are multiple people or passengers in the same frame, it takes more processing for us to find or capture the multiple people. So with the better angular resolution in the most important parameter, we were moving from 60 gigahertz to 70 gigahertz, 70 plus gigahertz, and it is again we are able to find the same at a better price. There we don't see a much larger price difference between them, and since we are able to get a much more angular resolution, not only us but most of the industries are right now moving from 60 to 77 gigahertz. And the third sensor is the scalable architecture for any vehicle. So since, as I mentioned earlier, we don't need the sensor to be placed in front of the driver or any passenger, as in terms of the visual based system. What we can do for radar is place them hidden within the cabinet of your vehicle, so that the sensors is not going to be poking out of that. So this is the scalability of how radar sensors can be placed, and how they can cover a larger area of vehicles of different sizes. So of course we need to calibrate the sensors at the start, but that would be a bigger problem when compared to the uh, visual sensors. So typically, for a two-row vehicle, we mostly place a radar in the headliner so that we can monitor the entire cabin, and it can detect the child even if the child is present in the rear seats facing the window or anything else. So even if the child is lying down on the seat, you are still able to detect them, and even in certain cases when the child was not on the seat itself but on the footwell, right, we were clearly able to detect the child. We were not able to detect their vital signs because of various reasons which I'll explain later, but the presence we were able to clearly detect, like there is a child not on the seat but on the footwell, right, which we were not able to do with the camera-based system. So this is again based on thanks to the radar-based solution, wherein we don't have to do the sensing and processing in two different platforms. We worked closely with TI, wherein where you are able to work with the hardware that is mentioned over here, AWR6843, where we had a DSP processor as well as the radar accelerators and the radar sensors on a single board, so that we could do an edge-based detection system and then avoid the latency for the entire end-to-end detections. Of course, and the other one is this DA sensors. They also come with certain booster packs. So in case if you guys need any like a UART or a USB or a CAN-based protocol, these booster packs will enable us to. It's a 60-pin booster pack pin, so that it can be fitted to any of the TA radar boards, and then you can take the signal in any of the communication protocols that you are comfortable with. So that's one use case. And again, the other use case which I mentioned earlier is I think this is from the Cadence. Cadence also is a silicon manufacturers. They are also service providers, but they also have their own silicons for the automotive industry, which is used in most of the vehicles right now. And what they wanted to prove here in this particular use case is with their low power ICs, which meets the automotive regulations, they are able to detect the presence of uh, a child, the participants, I mean any passenger or driver over here, and they are also able to. I mean, um, we can run any algorithm, any heavy deep learning model on a workstation or on a cloud platform. The real challenge that we face here is to run the same model on a low power, a low form factor ICs, especially something like Cadence, at the same accuracy without compromising anything on the accuracy or on the latency. Right. So this particular use case, Cadence was able to run the child presence detection system along with the vital sign detection system on their Cadence, I think it is the Telisa silicon, and they were able to provide accurate measurement of all the 4 passengers when this was fitted in a vehicle. Of course, there are it needs to have uh, a rigorous testing, not only when the vehicle is on rest, that is, there is no motion from the vehicle, there is no vibration from the passengers or the drivers, but actually when the vehicle is in motion and there is a rigid body motion or a robust body motion from these participants from whom we are trying to evaluate the vital signs. So Cadence is able to do this, and this is information from their use case, wherein we are able to measure the millimeter and sub-millimeter chest movements to detect their heart rate and breathing rate. And this is also one of the pipeline that we have worked on and still we work on, which is based on the radar-based RSP, the radar signal processing pipeline, wherein we this is we do have a generalized pipeline, one fit for all, that is wherein we convert the radar data, right? The FMCW radar or the UWB radar or the IR radar or the coherent radar from different manufacturers. We convert them into a common radar data cube, and then we feed it into our pipeline to check, how good the radar data is, especially for the heart rate and breathing rate, and also for occupancy detection. Apart from that, we also have dedicated pipeline that caters to the different types of radar, taking the advantage of their own specializations. Right. In case of FMCW radar, I think TA is one of the best ones that we are working with, and then we have the coherent radar. We have a lot of customers over there, but I don't think I can mention their name over right now. So these are the signal processing pipeline that we follow, and this is a pretty publicly known information of the signal processing pipeline. So starts with removing the the clutters, like when you have a radar placed on the dashboard or at the top of the vehicle. There are going to be a lot of strong static reflectors, like the seat belt, the metals, right, the dashboard pillars, and any other a glass object or some kind of dish that you or vessel that you have inside. And what we do is with the first frame or a couple of frames, we try to separate the static objects from the non-static objects, and then we completely remove them. In most of the cases, we do have a template of the vehicle, of where the radar is placed and how the vehicle will look like from the radar point of view, from the radar data, and completely eliminate those details, and then look for only the additional objects that are placed, which are not part of the vehicle. So that's the part of cluster removal, which helps us you know, focus more on the occupants, right? Even if a person is static, they are not moving, there will be a minute millimeter or sub-millimeter movements from their chest and also from their stomach based on their breathing and the heart rate, which, this cluster removal helps us to focus on that. And then we have the range FFT, where, of course, we perform the fast Fourier transform, and first we have the okay. So the output of this is going to be range profile, essentially of how much energy is present at each distance from the radar. So this is done to increase the SNR. To put it blankly, that's what we do this for. And then we have the range CFA, that is the constant false alarm rate detection. So instead of using the fixed thresholds, we use the CFA to adapt to the threshold based on the local noise level, so that we can reliably detect the targets even when the background noise level varies. So the output of this block is a set of range bins that is likely to contain the occupants rather than the noise. And then we have the range FFT. So when we perform each and FFT over here, we have the range FFT, we have the angular FFT, we have the Doppler FFT. And as we proceed with each and every block, what we tend to have is an higher SNR with a more clear signal over here. And then we have additional algorithms for detecting the peaks or template matching to find the vital signs or the occupants over here. Yeah, pretty much these are standard algorithms, and we have some additional proprietary algorithms which we have developed in-house and along with our partners for deploying radars within the automotive and the other healthcare industries. Again, so this is again the simulation that we ran with the cadence over here. And what we show here is a tabulation or the comparison of the actual measurement along with the estimated one. And as you can see, in terms of distance, what we have is an error rate of 2 centimeters. So we are able to detect the position of the occupants within an error rate of 2 centimeters. And then we have the angle, which is also very close. The angular detection, that is the occupant or the localization of the drivers and the participants, we are able to detect them within a range of 2 degrees. And the breathing rate based on the ground truth of 15 breaths per second, it is approximately estimated as exactly 15. So when you round off, there is 0 to, I mean, there are differences when it comes to rounding off. We do round it off to 0. Instead of 12, we round it off to 11. But what we see is near accurate estimation when it comes to the breathing rate, and as well as the same for the heart rate detection also. Of course, we had some edge cases wherein for certain people, we found, there was a spike in their heart rate, or especially the spike in their heart rate, and also for their breathing rate. Suddenly they get excited. It was not a linear transition between those two. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir, for the interruption.
Yeah.
We can start, sir.
Okay, no issues. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. And this is also one of our you know, use cases, especially for driver detection, also for the passenger vital sign detection. As you can see that there is a single radar placed on the top of the vehicle, that is a 60 gigahertz radar, which is able to accurately measure two things. One is like there is a passenger within the occupied in the seat, and their heart rate. And this was done with the TI's AWR1642, a single chip millimeter sensor that is mounted on the top of the dashboard. And with this particular dashboard, it is not only possible to find the heart rate, uh, when a heart rate and the breathing rate, not only when the vehicle was in static, but also when the vehicle was moving in real time. And what we do over here is like we collect the data for the first 30 frames to initialize the system, and then after 30 frames, for every 10 seconds or every 1 second, you will be able to constantly see the heart rate being updated. And just to clarify here, the frame rate of these radars is 30 frames per second, so you will have 30 radar data within 1 second. However, to average it out, what we do is, in most of the cases, we update the radar data, or whatever is shown in the UI, only once per second, not 30 times per second. And this is again the UI. It comes along with the TI radar, where you will be able to see the breathing rate, the heart rate, the waveforms in terms of chest displacement, and the range profile in terms of phase and magnitude. So these are diagnostics data which we use on the back end to check whether the radar has been calibrated properly, and whether we are able to run our own RSP algorithm on the back end. And this is a part of your test vector, so that when we find a standard, when we standardize our own test data, right, along with the ground truth, and when we develop our own radar signal processing pipeline, we run those test vectors and find whether we are able to achieve the same ground truth which we are operating in. This again is applicable for both the mathematical model as well as the AI and machine learning model. Yes. So this is also a slide wherein we are able to detect, between an adult and a child based on the radar data. So this particular point cloud data that you see on the right side of the slide is based on is based on a radar, not from the lidar. This is from the radar, and you can see the radar being mounted at the top of the back seat. And based on that, we are able to measure whether, or estimate whether that is a child or an adult. So this again is a two-step process where we are able to find, uh, you know, whether it's, to determine whether the occupant is safe or not. The heart rate for a child and the adult, they vary differently, and if they are misclassified, I say like I misclassify a child to be an adult, then their heart rate will not fit into the spectrum, and it will be either a lower bound. So to ensure that we are able to properly estimate within which bracket the heart rate is, that is, it is for the adult or for a child, the first step, or the first process that we have to do is to detect whether they are adult or a child. So this again is an experimentation that was carried out for a different position of the radar, not only having the radar in the front above the dashboard, but also having the radar in the ceiling of the car for the rear seats. And when it comes to uh, you know detecting the passengers at the in a vehicle, it is not only we do it for 4-seaters, but also for 6+ seaters here. And as you can see, this is a different kind of radar. The radars that we saw earlier were mostly FMCW radar, and this one is the imaging radar, wherein it is able to clearly classify. We have provided the configurable grids over here. That is our the seats over here. So the radar is placed at the top here, and then it clearly determines whether these particular seats are occupied or not. So this is, you can see 6 volunteers sitting on either side of the vehicle like car like simulator setup and leaving a seat in the center vacant. And that particular seat is shown as a black color grid, and the other seats other seats are shown as red, mentioning that they are occupied over here. Okay, and I think that's almost the end of my presentation. And yeah, this one. So as of now, I focus only on 2 things. One is the radar, as well as the RGB cameras, or cameras for determining whether a particular seat is being occupied or not, or whether to find the heart rate or the vital sign detection. But uh, the focus is one particular sensor is not fit for all. What we claim, or what we have seen from our experiences, uh, there is a need for a combination of sensors so that we can reliably detect whether we have a safe journey and the car is reliable and it has all these safety features that are needed. So with this, let me conclude my presentation, and if I'm happy to take any questions that are up here.
Participants, any queries? Participants? Sir, I have one small doubt, sir. It's not a question, but it's a request which I want to tell for our students.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, actually, if our students want into get into a robotic profession, or means whether we want to do any course related to that, so the years whether we want to update our students regarding this, sir.
No, ma'am. This is
Any
completely
course
based
or
on automotive. Robotics is a much more vast area.
okay.
But based on your background, I hope that you guys are from the electronics and communication background.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So I would strongly recommend the engineers to be concentrating on the programming, either it be C, C++, or Python. I would strongly recommend them to learn the programming, the basics, and then to study the platform known as robot operating system. So I specialize in ROS. I got opportunity to teach students in ROS in the CDAC Kolkata, and also in other universities. So what I see with the young candidates is they want to work in robotics, so they learn the framework, that is the ROS robot operating system. And once they know that, they need to learn programming, and then they come back and learn coding with Python or C++. So it is highly important that they have very good programming experience, learn the basics, and and then learn the concepts related to robotics. ROS is a very good point to start it. They don't have to take much of a course. It's an open source framework, and it has a very good repository. It has a very good ecosystem also for the students to do a self-learning system. I wouldn't recommend them to spend any money on taking up the course. If they want to spend the money, or if the university supports, what you should have is a very good AMR, autonomous moving vehicles. There are a lot of vendors over here in Coimbatore who provide AMR at a affordable cost, especially for universities, and start implementing them not only in simulation but on the physical hardware, like an NVIDIA board, or I think Raspberry Pi 5 also supports ROS systems. So at least you can run basic algorithms or codes in Raspberry Pi.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's a good question.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, participants, any queries from your side? Okay, so shall we conclude, sir?
Yes, we can do that.
So
Thank you for having me, and have a great day. Bye.
Okay, sir. So on behalf of our team, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude for your insightful and engaging session on deep learning and robotics. Your expertise and clarity in presenting such complex topics made the learning experience both enriching and inspiring, sir. The way you connected theory with practical applications gave us a deeper understanding of how these technologies are shaping the future. Your examples and real-world perspectives make us a curiosity and motivated us to explore further. We truly appreciate the time and effort you dedicated to sharing your knowledge with us. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, I kindly request everyone to post the feedback form for the session and kindly stay in the beat. The next session we can start by 7:30. Thank you all.